Hello, in this video I'm going to explain converting mixed numbers to improper fractions and then the reverse process of converting improper fractions into mixed numbers. Now there are two sections in Math 25 of this kind of material. So right now I'm covering practice 1. There'll be a second video of similar type of problems in practice 2, and that will be the next video. All right, so here we're looking to convert a mixed number as an improper fraction. Now, if you recall, an improper fraction looks like this. Here's an example of one. And here's another example of another one. An improper fraction happens when the numerator is greater than or equal to the denominator. That's an improper fraction. Now, we also have this concept called a mixed number. So let's write that one down. 9 1/5. So you can think of this as, let me lower this a little bit, 1/5. You can think of this as 9 feet and 1/5. 9 yards and 1/5 yards. 9 miles and 1/5 miles. So there's an implied and in here, and. Now, this is not multiplication. We're not multiplying 9 times 1/5. And you'll see that later in this module 2 of Math 25. It's not multiplication. This is all one number. It's the same number. It's just not in a format that we verbalize. And we can write down 9 and 1/5. This is the same number here. We're going to convert this number here into an improper fraction. Now, this part of the number is the whole number, right? It's the whole number part, this 9. Because this 9, only 9 here, I'm looking at the 9, it's a whole number. In other words, when you just look at this, there's nothing else attached to it, even though we know it's 1/5. But for right now, let's just focus on the 9. So this is the whole number part of a mixed number, while this is the fraction part, right? So that kind of makes sense. Fraction part. Whole number part, fraction part. So when you put them together, it's called a mix. That's why it's called a mixed number. We're mixing whole numbers and fractions, combining it into one representation of some number. All right, so how do we go about to convert a mixed number into an improper fraction? All right, so step number 1, we're going to multiply the whole number part and the denominator. We're going to multiply. So as a way to remember that, I'll put a little multiplication symbol there to remind me that I'm going to multiply the whole number part and the denominator. So 9 times 5, right, on the side somewhere, 9 times 5 is 45. Now you want to get to the point here, ideally, where you can do this whole procedure I'm about to show you in your head. You don't have to. You can write it down like I did. So we know that 9 times 5 is 45, but we're not done yet. We got to do something to the numerator part. And what we have to do is take this 45 that we get from 9 times 5 and add whatever the numerator is, 1. So 45 plus 1 is 46. This becomes the numerator of the improper fraction. Okay, so arrow over. This is the numerator of the improper fraction, and what goes in the denominator? The same thing. 5 goes there. All right, so there it is. We're done. So this is the answer. Step number 1, multiply this way, right? Multiply that. 9 times 5 is 45. Then keep that in your head. 45 plus whatever's here. In this case, it's 1. 45 plus 1 is 46. So the answer to this little thing going on here, multiplication addition, goes on top. 46 goes in the numerator. And then the denominator stays the same. Now suppose you can think of it this way. You can go from here when you're looking for the answer. I mean, either way works. You can say, you know what? I don't want to confuse myself. I'm about to convert a mixed number into an improper fraction. I don't want to get confused on what goes where, so I'm going to take this denominator and just put it right here. So that way I know I'm done with this thing. All I got to do is find out what the numerator is. And it's the same procedure, of course. 9 times 5 is 45, plus 1 is 46. That way you'll know which number goes where. All right, so there it is. So 46 over 5. Let's put it in there and see what happens. Okay. All right, so different number, same technique. 1 3/10. 1 3/10. We need to convert this to an improper fraction. And again, we can do this little trick I just thought up here. We can take this 10 and just write it down here. We know the denominator is the same, so let's just put it there. All we got to do is find the numerator. And remember, we're going to multiply these two numbers going this way, and then add the result of that multiplication with this. 1 times 10 is 10. 10 plus 3 is 13. Okay, so 13 over 10. And remember, you can type this slash on your keyboard, and now add that fraction bar, or you can click here to do the same thing. All right, so let's keep rolling. 10 and 1/6. I know the denominator is going to stay as 6. I got to multiply now these two numbers. 10 times 6 is 60. 60 plus the numerator, which is 1, is 61. 61 over 6. All right. Let's try one more here. 9 1/4. What does this convert to as an improper fraction? Well, the denominator is going to stay the same. We're going to multiply these two numbers. 4 times 9 is 36. Plus 1 is 37. 37 over 4. Now you're asking, what happens if you have to go the other way, from here to here? How do we do that? Well, we're about to find out. For the next 4 problems, we're going to switch directions, and we're going to go from converting a mixed number, improper fraction, right? An improper fraction to a mixed number, Okay, so we're starting off with an improper fraction. We're going to go to a mixed number. How do we do that? Long division is how we do that. Here we go. So, now remember, the top part, right, goes in the box because it's the dividend. The bottom number goes outside of the division box because it's the divisor. So now we're going to divide. 6 divides into 13 2 times. 2 times 6 is 12. Subtract remainder of 1. And we stop right there. Now, it helps to identify and label this, this, and this, right? So we know that this is the quotient, Q. This is the quotient, the whole number part of the answer, quotient. I'll just call it Q. This is the remainder of what's left over, and I'll just call it R. This is the divisor. It's what we're dividing by. I'll call it D. So why am I doing this? Here's why. Because the format of a mixed number, it follows this pattern. It's going to be quotient with remainder over divisor. All right, so we started from here. We did long division. We got our answer. There's our answer. But the question is, how do we put this into this format? And here it is, right here. This is the template you're going to follow. You're going to follow this template. QRD. QRD. Get that in your brain. QRD. Quotient, remainder, over, divisor. All we got to do now is just plug in the numbers. Q is 2. R is 1. D is 6. We're done. There it is. So 13 over 6 improper fraction converts to 2 1/6 as a mixed number. Now, since we just finished going from mixed number to improper fraction, you can check, right? Because you know how to do that. So let's check it real quick mentally. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 plus 1 is 13 over 6, right? 13 over 6. Well, there it is. Check. See that? These are equivalent. All right, so 2 1/6 is our answer. So remember to do this, label each part of the long division here, QRD. Remember the format, QRD, and then just take these numbers and put them in where they belong. Quotient, Q, remainder 1, divisor 6. Now, the way you're going to put this in the system, you're going to use this mixed number symbol down here, this button. So click it, and the cursor is in the whole number part. So for us, we're going to type in 2, and then I'm going to arrow over, and it's going to go up to the numerator. It's 1, and then I'm going to arrow down or click there using the mouse pointer, either way. And I'm going to type in 6. All right, so we have a few more examples here to polish your understanding of this. So let's try this out and see what happens. So we have 138 over 6. We're going to convert this improper fraction to a mixed number. Here we go. Long division. Quick and dirty. Nothing fancy, because I know you know how to do long division. Okay. 6 divides into 13 2 times. 2 times 6 is 12. Subtract. 13 minus 12 is 1. Bring down the next digit. 6 divides into 18 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18. Subtract. Remainder is 0. Okay. Well, that's interesting. We have a remainder of 0. Now what? Well, this is still Q, right? This is still the quotient, whole number part of the answer. Q, R, remainder, D, divisor. Q, R, D. All right, well, let's plug that in there and see what happens. So our quotient is 23. Our remainder is 0. And our divisor is 6. All right, so we have 23 and 0 over 6. Do you think we can just type that in there and it'll be correct? No, you can't do that. Look at this part here. 6, by luck, divided exactly 23 times into 138 with nothing left over. So it makes no sense to put that in there, first of all. Right? It makes no sense because 23, just 23 is the answer. The second thing is, what is the answer to a fraction when you have a 0 in the numerator? 0, you said, correct. That's another reason why we don't need the fraction part. There is no part to the whole, right? So sometimes, just by coincidence, your answer, when you're converting from an improper fraction to a mixed number, becomes a whole number. By luck, by coincidence, it can happen, right? And it just happened right here. So whenever the remainder is 0, disregard the fraction part. So let's put 23 in and see what happens. All right. (24) divided by 5, or 24/5. Convert that into mixed number. Long division, correct. 5 goes into 24 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20. Subtract. Q, R, and D. Q, R, D. Q, 4. R, 4. And D, divisor, 5. A quick mental check to see if we convert this back. Will we get that? 4 times 5 is 20. 20 and 4 is 24 over 5. Yep, there it is, 24 over 5. And again, you notice, even when you go from an improper fraction to a mixed number, the denominator again is the same. So, yeah, you can take this and put it here, but I would just stick with this, just stick with this QRD because it kind of flows out nicely from the tongue, right? QRD. QRD. That way you'll know what goes where. Now, let me just say something about the fractional part. Well, first, let's put that in there, make sure it's correct. Then I'll discuss that. Click this, the mixed number symbol, 4 and 4/5. Now, pretend our answer was 4 and 2/6. Pretend. Now, pretend's a whole different problem, right? We got a whole different problem here. And our answer is this. If you were to type that in the system, it would be marked as wrong. And the reason is because the fraction part can reduce. Now, we're not talking about reducing yet in this course. So, and none of these problems have a reducing aspect to it. I just want to give you a heads up on this. When you get to it in Math 50, there will be times when you have to reduce this. I'm not going to get into reducing right now that deeply at all, but just to kind of briefly touch on it. So to reduce this, the whole number part stays the same, and then you have to reduce this, basically make it smaller. And you have to ask yourself, what number divides into 2 and 6, right? What number are you thinking about that divides into 2 and 6? And that number is 2, right? 2 divides into 2 and 6. This is how you reduce. 2 that you're thinking about divides into 2 one time. 2 that you're thinking about divides into 6 3 times. So the equivalent expression of this is this in reduced format. You're not going to have to do it in Math 25. In Math 50, you'll have to know this. Okay, just a little heads up on that. All right, let's keep rolling. One more problem. (17/8). Convert this into a mixed number. Long division. 8 divides into 17 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16. Subtract 1. Q, R, D. Let's take it and pop it in there, right? We know the format by now. We got it memorized. Q, you said, correct. R is next, yes. D's next. There it is. Let's multiply back as a check. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 1 is 17 over 8. There it is. Check. All right, so 2 and 1/8. All right, so this is how you convert a mixed number to an improper fraction, and then an improper fraction back to a mixed number. If you like my content, click on the like button, post your comments, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.